So we're here with Esther. How are you, first of all?
Very well.
We're in Oakland to set the stage, overlooking the beautiful
Port.
port, which is just a beautiful scene because we're going to be talking about a lot of things, but this port's been here a long time and a lot of stuff comes and goes through here. And I was just realizing the first topic we want to talk about is term limits
Right.
and the new book that you are writing and publishing. So, just to start, what is the message and why did you write this book?
The reason I wrote this book was not, oh, I know all this stuff I want to tell people. It was more, wow, I have this concept and have a lot of questions about how it applies more generally. So it's not really a single message. It's maybe a single premise, which is that human beings are finite. We get born, we live, we die. And I believe we need to be comfortable with that and see all the benefits of it. And at the same time, we come and go, but the universe lives on. We have a history,
Continuum, yes.
and ideally we leave something behind. And one thing I discovered during the writing of this book is this old Russian custom of sitting for the road. You're leaving, you've been at somebody's house, or maybe you've been in the world. And the first question is, what did I leave behind on purpose? Because I wanted to thank the host. By mistake, I left my glasses or my cell phone. And then you think about the journey ahead. And of course, when this all started, eons ago, if you went on a journey, you might not come back. You need to be prepared to leave more broadly. And that's what our lives are. But we are now living in a world where exponential growth, immortality, if it's good, we need more of it. If it's bad, we should shun it.
Living
Not,
forever, yes.
yeah, living forever, but also living for, there's a picture I want in the book of the Lone Star Cafe in New York City, which has an iguana statue on the roof, and on its side it says, "Too much ain't enough," but enough actually is enough, and that's the trick. Nothing's so bad you should shun it entirely. Nothing's so wonderful you need an infinite amount of it. And the whole notion, humans are unique, and it goes back to Oscar Wilde and long before, who said he knew the price of everything and the value of nothing.
Mm.
And we have value, but we're in an increasingly transactional world and we get disintermediated. We have people to spend our money, people to raise our children. We give them cell phones. They're being, I got this pitch for a software product that would ask your kid questions, and then you could put it on your website or on your TikTok or something, and it would answer questions to save your child the awkwardness
Of
of
having a conversation
communicating
with you?
with a no, with a real
Oh,
or real other kid too. Just and in my life, I swim. And do you go to swimming? No, I don't go to swimming matches. I don't want to pay people to swim for me. I want to swim myself.
mm.
But so much of what we're doing is now allocated, optimized. Oh, you can make it more efficient. I don't want an efficient conversation with you. I want
Mm.
a meaningful one.
So is it a book of philosophy or is it about the world we're in or all of that?
It's all of it. It's the basic premise, a little bit about evolution and what AI is and what it isn't. And it's full of, because I've been in tech and all these things, it's a fair amount of not personal history, but personal examples. I talk about people I know, some of whom I don't name for various reasons. And then it's less, you never knew this. It's more, oh, I knew this, but I never really saw it. I never really understood how I was distancing myself from the things that give me the most pleasure, because I'm trying to optimize. I don't know, why am I trying to optimize? So I started out with questions and found more and more questions. And there's a chapter on money and power and how they interact. There's a chapter on philanthropies, a chapter on AI and business structures. And
Wow.
then in the end,
So it's wide ranging.
yeah. And I don't talk about formal education. I don't talk about religion. There are lots of other things you could talk about, and I hope people will. And it ends with the notion of, we've talked about term limits and we've talked about power, sense of agency is good, power to versus power over. And maybe you need the power to end your own life. That's fraught with so many things, with possibilities of predatory behavior and so forth and so on.
Humans are designed to want more. It seems like that's like part of the DNA, but then at the same time, we're also designed to know when time's up.
We should be.
Yeah.
And partly we evolved in a time of scarcity when basically you could never get too much because everything was in short supply and things were hard to do. And power is one of the interesting ones. We need people who want power, but we need a balance between those who want it desperately and those who don't. And in our current era of abundance, even though the abundance is very unevenly distributed, there are too many people who want too much power. And they also want pretty much too much of everything. And so what they're getting is ultra processed food, ultra processed information, and even ultra processed humans in some form or other.
Yeah. And then you can just take the pill and solve everything.
Yeah. Or some of us, the ones who deserve it, can live forever.
Yeah, sure. In that movie, Don't Look Up with, is it Leonardo DiCaprio? And they try to go off to another planet and then they get there and they're living in this beautiful utopia and this beautiful creature comes up and then just kills the human like as soon as they land there because it's like they think they can conquer what's existence and then there's always some other challenge or I guess natural term limit maybe in the broader universe.
It's interesting. So my father was an astrophysicist. We knew all about space travel. And why have we not found other intelligent life? Does it in fact happen that the moment society gets sufficiently intelligent to actually create too much of everything, they somehow kill themselves off? And I'm not a doomer. I want people to see more clearly what the bad parts of the good things and the good parts of the bad things. But there is some world in which you get really intelligent but not very wise,
Yeah.
and you destroy yourselves.
Do you, is it almost because we're entering this new era of abundance where you can have more energy and more resources and endless this and endless that.
And also, at the same time, you need less time to do things because AI is infinitely reproducible. So it can, some things speed up, humans don't.
Well, and back to why haven't we discovered life? I've just always thought a silly question, like, but that just assumes humans could comprehend what that life form is, and we even understand what all other life forms are, and we're even aware.
You're absolutely right. As I said, it's a question.
Yeah.
It's not a proposition. And one of my favorite science fiction stories is where the Borgs look down on Earth, and they, of course, are electronics, they're computer things of some form or other. And they think with their meat. They have these orbs full of goo. Very strange.
Right.
And so we look at everything from a porpoise or an orca to an assemblage of circuit.
And
think it can't be sentient, and who knows?
who knows? And then just this concept of time, which seems like it's in the title of your book, is just so significant because it could be different for everyone and every species and every place. And how is this book more important now that we're entering this new super intelligent era? And is that why term limits become even more significant? Because
they're being questioned in some sense.
Yeah.
Before, you knew you had term limits and you talked to God, and maybe you went, and maybe you do, live on in some other form afterwards. But there was no, yes, there were people who wanted to be immortal, but there weren't people who thought it was a real possibility for them. And again, just the abundance and the inequality. It's it's
Getting
extremely
unstable.
yeah.
It's getting very
And
unstable.
it's something I think people should pay attention to.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we met, you wouldn't even remember this, but going back 30 years, because you were
I do
doing,
remember it.
yeah, you were doing Release 1.0, and you're you've always been a writer and an editor and coming out,
Pair of questions.
asker of questions. Like to me, you've been so consistent through those entire 30 years in every way. And so I'm so curious about this concept of term limits. And then does that mean a moment to change and transform, or a moment to reflect, or a moment to go on a new journey?
It
Or
contains multitudes.
yeah,
It means, again, it means saying rather than try and perfect, it's not leave the job undone, but understand when it's time to make a transition.
yeah.
It may be earlier, it may be later. Wellville, we started out 5 years and decided we needed 10 years, and it ended almost on time, December 42nd of last year. But just understanding that there will be an end. So what you need is to have priorities, not an impossible number of tasks, because if you had infinite anything, then you would have to do infinite things with it.
Hmm.
And term limits should be comforting rather than,
Yeah, it's a freedom.
yeah, it. So in the book also, I talked to this guy who said it used to be when we didn't have so much money, it helped us make choices. Where could we go on holiday? What could we get? Now we could do anything. And
Hmm.
so it's so hard to choose because there's no constraints. Any good artist will tell you, I want constraints. I want a piece of wood or a block of some kind of stone to carve something in, or it's in a very different way. It's hard to go into a restaurant and they say, what would you like to eat? Tell me what's on your menu. And then I'm going to ask for it without the bread for Jack Nicholson, or I want the salad, but
The
with
Reuben.
kale
Yeah.
instead of arugula or who knows what.
With AI and the new form of AI, it seems like in a lot of ways there's that open menu. There's this, it to me, it feels like there's almost a, with an imbalance between the power that these tools really have and the creativity of how people are using them.
Yeah.
And part of that might be because it's an open menu and people don't know what to do
Yeah,
with
you
an
could
open
do
menu.
anything and you could do it so incredibly fast. What do you really want to do? And yeah, whereas some people are, and it's great. This is exactly what I want to do. And now I know how to perfect it. And here's a tool that lets me do it.
I feel like I just wrote a piece on, it's called Health Moonshots in the Age of
Yes,
Superintelligence.
I saw that.
And to me, it's okay, we set they're all racing to beat the LSAT or
Yes.
humans last exam.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm pretty sure if they all were racing and competing, because they all have to
Yeah.
win, these five people or organizations or people behind the organizations, they could cure Alzheimer's like by next year if they focused all the compute, all the challenge, all the energy on a different benchmark or a different race or a different challenge, then it would reprioritize the goal.
And five people should do that. And five should do another one.
Right.
And at the same time, I heard someone 2, 3 days ago say, imagine we could create a million Einsteins. And the first question is, that's nice, but is Einstein really, he was the epitome of intelligence, but was he really the epitome of what we're striving for? Versus he was a pretty wise guy too. But and then the second question is, how many Einsteins do we have already that simply aren't realizing their potential? We ignore all that human potential and don't fund it. We grab the money for ourselves. And
Hmm.
we have really crappy school. I can
Go on. Yeah. Who do you hope reads this? Everyone or entrepreneurs, investors, teachers, educators? It seems like this is a universal theme that matters to a lot of people.
And as with most books nowadays, the real action isn't so much with the book as with the Substacks, the blog posts they turn into, the podcasts and so forth.
The conversation around it.
Yeah. And so different people will get different messages. Philanthropy chapter, I hope. And I hope some people will read the whole thing and then say, maybe I'm in college education, maybe this applies this way here. Or people who are interested in asking questions, not looking for 10 timely tips for living in the age of AI. But it's a pretty short book. It's meant to make you think, not to
read a lot.
Not just
read a lot of
knowledge.
pages. Yeah.
Knowledge is not poured into your head. It's more like decorating a Christmas tree to create a pattern.
I love Michael Pollan's book. It's
the one about the
short
corn.
one. It's the one about eat green, eat plants,
Oh,
eat food,
yeah.
mostly green and not too much.
The one I like is, and I'm not sure the title, but
Omnivore's Dilemma, or
basically the one that says ultra processed crops are a fitness function. They are changing us more than we are changing them.
Yeah.
Basically, the whole notion of how people respond to a fitness function. In the old days, the fitness function was get as much food as you can so you can stay alive and not starve, make fires, find mates and reproduce, because 2/3 of your kids are going to die. And now our fitness function is, it's being perverted by, again, all this ultra processed food and content. And fitness function is get more of everything, and that's really not actually good for you.
you said you're not a doomer. Are you an optimist? Or I know it's a weird word now. It's been claimed by the techno optimists.
I'd like to say I'm a cynical idealist. And I'm also, what I hope to do is help people see stuff and behave better. Not because I think, I don't want to predict the future, I want to influence it.
Yeah.
And so I'm neither. If we can, and defining we is one of the first challenges, but if we can, all of us, be more sensible, then I think things will be much better. And if we keep responding, if we keep being run by the fitness functions of predatory business models,
absorbing our time and attention,
yes,
and turning us into addicts.
Yeah, and separating us from what really makes us happy, because somehow we've absorbed some other, whether it's a short-term addiction or long-term goals that aren't really good for humans.
It seems if the past 20 years of technology was all sorts of very powerful, amazing tools that added a lot of value, but took us away from our humanity.
They added a lot of valuation.
Valuation, yes.
It drives me crazy in Silicon Valley. Oh, he's worth 400 million. No, he's got a 20% share in a company where the investors actually have a liquidation preference of 3 times, and he's not really in control, and he's not worth it. He's got a call on some subset of the current valuation of that asset.
Yes.
And he probably just got lucky and doesn't recognize it.
Yeah, timing, luck. That begs the question, the difference between perseverance and knowing when to push through something, and then knowing when there's should be a term limit to maybe a new chapter or a new thing.
Yeah.
And how the difference, or
it's not knowing in a sense, because like most advice is useless, because good advice is not just about what someone should do, it's about what you should do. What are you good at? what really motivates you. And the best thing about advice is knowing which advice to listen to and which advice to ignore. But there's also no right answer. There are clearly some wrong answers. And you can do, quote, the right thing. But if it doesn't, it shouldn't make you just happy or happy. But at the end of all this, you should have some human satisfaction. Again, this whole disintermediation. I've just been talking with people about philanthropy, and I don't want a donor advised fund giving my money away. Someone asked me to be at a gala and be honored. And the business model for that is give us some money,
Yeah.
invite some of your rich friends, and you will be, it's the same but a different scale from the, oh, do you want to be the woman of the year for some magazine you've never heard of for $1,200 and they'll give you a plaque?
Yeah.
Versus, so I got this pitch, but I liked the guy better than I thought. And I won't name it was some kind of student oriented thing. And I said, look, I'd love to come talk to your students about the book I'm writing. That's an audience I want. Some students who are, oh, this lady, she's, I don't know, but she's got a whole lot of likes somewhere. We'll listen to her. And I want to provoke a few of those kids. And then maybe because of that experience, I'll be motivated to support this nonprofit. Who knows? But I don't want to just give some money so that I can be Woman of the Year.
How do you think about your next chapter? And if you've been reflecting on one term limit, there's always an opportunity to start the next term limit,
Yes.
which is the beauty. How do you, for yourself,
Well,
think about that?
This will take a little time, but then
Yeah.
I want to write another book called that's going to be much more fun. But this was deep fun
Yeah.
and real learning. I'll write this book and I'll discover other things too. It's going to be called Present Without Leave.
Oh.
All the a whole lot about interesting places in Russia, visiting an orphanage in Azerbaijan with a friend who grew up there, sneaking into swimming pools.
It's more autobiographical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's more interesting anecdotes. I'm sure some way or another I'll figure out some useful conclusions to draw that very. Most things are just curiosity is the world is such an amazing place to explore. And here's what I've found. And now you go and
Is that how you were even as a child? Like
yeah,
curious, asking questions?
when I was, I mean, my parents were both scientists. So
Yeah.
when I was 13, I persuaded my father to send me to live with some friends of his in London. And then when I was, long story, I wanted to be a teenager, and where I grew up at the Institute for Advanced Study was Nobel Prize winners and things, but
Hard to be a
no
teenager.
notion of what a teenager was. Most of them were from Russia or India or something. So I got into college early. And after the first semester, they said, we were so excited when we accepted you. Were so bright, but you've got a D- in physics or something. Who knows? If you want to take some time off, we'll welcome you back. So I went and took half a year off and went to live with my boyfriend who I'd met in college, who was a senior, and in Morocco, where he was working for the Peace Corps.
Oh, wow.
And present without leave when, of course, I wasn't supposed to be there. So when the Peace Corps people came to visit, I had to hide under the bed.
Oh,
And,
wow.
just,
Adventure.
yeah. And I trained as a cosmonaut in Star City in Russia. And again, it wasn't like I was illegal, but yeah, it, what I don't like is ultra processed experiences. I'd rather watch a dress rehearsal
Yeah.
or,
These are unique.
yeah, you just show up somewhere and
Is that how you live just day to day? Like you know where you're going to be tomorrow, but also it could open up to anything.
yeah, it's a little more predictable than that. But fundamentally, I'm still doing new things that are terrifying. And I really like that. It usually works out. Again, am I going to die doing this? Probably not. I was staying with a friend who's a member of the Fremont Hills Country Club and they have a 50-meter pool. So I brought my wetsuit because I knew it would be cold. The pool's heated, but not that heated. And it turns out that they're redoing the locker rooms basically, and there's only an outdoor shower, and it was just freezing. And I survived. And then the next day, I discovered I'd probably left my bathing cap at the pool. And of course, probably gone. And I looked around my friend's house quietly in the dark because it was early in the morning and couldn't find a bathing cap. And thought the worst thing that happens, I go and try it without the bathing cap, or maybe someone else left there. Anyway, so I get to the pool, and this woman comes up and says, "Are you a member here?" And I said, "I'm with the family." And she said, "Okay." Then I added, "And I lost my bathing cap." And she said, "Oh, is it that one over there?" There was this black bench, and my cap was black, and there was my bathing cap. And
Right there, yeah.
but I'm also aware if I had been a 6 foot tall black guy, it,
Prowling around.
it probably would have turned out differently.
Yeah.
And so I love my privilege, but I'm also aware of it,
Mm.
which is not exculpation. At the same time, I like stretching the boundaries.
Yeah.
And I got a tour of the Swedish parliament once, and I swam in the Pentagon swimming. It's not on basically the Pentagon swimming pool.
And just a lot of the people that you've spent your time with through life is extraordinary.
Yeah,
How, because you spent a lot of time with founders who have now become historic
I know.
figures.
And some of them, so many of them have just lost their way and genuflected to Donald Trump. Oh, it's not that I'm greedy, but I need to take care of my shareholders. But you're the ones in the position to fight back.
Mm.
And so kudos to Mark Cuban in particular, and to Jeff Bezos until everything changed.
Right. I guess there's a new generation of young entrepreneurs and builders and creators, and they're using these super tools, and there's this new cycle that everybody's excited about, and there's this
Yeah.
frenzy and mania almost.
And I hope to reach them and get them to understand the frenzy and take advantage of it properly, but not to lose their humanity. To understand that it's going to be an interesting few years.
Yeah.
Because there is a bubble. There was an internet bubble, and again, a bubble doesn't mean the thing doesn't work, but it means usually it gets overvalued, and
yeah,
it needs to be kind of cleaned up.
There's the main story in the Times today is about this bubble and whether it is a bubble.
Yes.
People are saying because there's people like you that are still questioning, saying that there's a bubble, it's not a bubble because.
Yeah. Now it is a bubble. A bubble exists, and it doesn't mean that everything disappears, but it does mean that all the air inside the bubble disappears and the thing shrinks back down to reality. And the challenge of this particular bubble is it's also included a political extremism that is basically killing people. It's not that healthcare inequalities haven't been killing people for centuries, but it's getting worse and more visible. And right now, it's like all the pipes are clogged, the pipes of money coming in and the pipes of science, and the uncertainty makes people unwilling to act, other than the ones who get the billions. And so again, there's inequality around the affordances of daily life for normal people and the guys with the yachts.
And that kind of instability can be very dangerous.
Yes.
And it's
not, has been dangerous for
people. It's not good for anybody, including them.
No, which they don't recognize, because in the end, their descendants won't be happy in a world of a few people living forever in yachts and
having everything,
spaceships.
Yeah. It's interesting times. I think like you said, the next few years are, in one way, it's beautiful because there's so much possibility. It can be very terrifying,
Yeah,
but it's also to me, let's just take the healthcare side. One thing I'm very positively or optimistic about, positive or optimistic about is 3 billion people have these devices, and you can now, it's like talking to a doctor, whereas before, in some cases,
yeah,
and even just for basic things, and be able to ask questions. And to someone who might not have had any ability to talk to a medical professional or a mental health person, so it opens up
right.
access to maybe billions of people that didn't have anything
Yes.
before.
And then they still need to afford the drugs. They still need the time to follow the
Sure,
good advice.
sure.
I got into a little healthcare conference. Can AI replace doctors? And my answer is more or less it should replace doctors because doctors themselves have become basically referral vehicles. Oh, I'll diagnose you and then I'll send you to a specialist. And that's how I get rewarded. What we cannot replace is the nurses and the doulas and the caregivers
The
and the
navigators,
teachers. So
community workers.
all my time at Wellville, two of the most precious moments were meetings between some 30, 40-year-old guy and their kindergarten or first grade teacher, the two separate ones, but just the kid shy and embarrassed, and the teacher, oh, you were such a cutie pie, and the recognition that mattered so much to this kid. And so I met Einstein when I was a kid because he lived nearby, and but I was much more interested in Mrs. Pennypacker, who taught first grade, and she was important to me.
Yeah,
And if I meet someone in heaven, Mrs. Pennypacker, who's is going to
that's
be the
who
one that,
matters.
yeah,
Esther, I just have to thank you for sharing this wisdom in your book because now we can get it out to more people. And thank you for you've shared so much with me now over 30 years and our whole ecosystem at Startup Health. We're so grateful because it's just translates to so much more impact. I think we're entering new territory. I don't know where it's going. I'm optimistic generally
yeah,
about it, but cautious at the same time.
always be questioning.
Always and
ABQ.
always make mistakes, but not the same mistakes. Is
Mistakes.
that your quote?
Always make new
Always
mistakes.
make new mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And never do anything. Again, you have to be privileged for this, but never do anything you wouldn't do for free, but try to get paid.
Okay.
That's my career advice.
Yeah. So love what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. How should young people be thinking about education now and what they should be? Is it the basics, learn how to learn and challenge
Yeah.
yourself
It's
and relationships and
always be curious. So we grow up innately with theory of mind. You start as a baby and mommy gets upset and then you get upset and then you realize when you're upset that makes mommy upset and you begin to understand how people think ideally. But what isn't quite as innate is theory of business mind. Why are they being so nice to me? Do they really like me or do they just want my money? Why does this food taste so good even though I know that tomorrow I'll feel like I ate too much? And just understanding how not just how you think, but how you're being manipulated and how the people around you are good, but they too are being driven by some system that makes them. There's also, so there's bad ultra processed food, there's bad ultra processed content, and there's bad ultra processed money that you get.
it's hollow calories,
Yeah. And, but more than hollow, damaging. So
damaging. Yeah.
you're doing work where you feel guilty. And then, of course, you persuade yourself that what you're doing is not wrong. And then
The cognitive.
suddenly you're genuflecting to people with power who are destroying the world.
How is it possible to use the same, this will sound like a negative word, tricks, strategies and tactics
To do good?
to do good?
Yes and no. The same, some of it, yes, but again, can you gamify somebody into giving money to a good cause? At some
Or to
point,
do something better for themselves.
yeah, that's different. Because again, if it's done with self-awareness, yes. But I guess what I'm saying is there's a point at which the behavior modifies the beliefs, and intrinsic motivation always beats I'm doing it for the money or I'm doing it for the fame, or and even if you do something good for the fame, the ultra processed part of it, just the way sugar messes up your metabolism, the ultra processing of the doing good messes up some kind of emotional moral metabolism.
Yeah.
I'm giving money to be known for the gala. That's bad
There's always
gamification.
a different reason, ulterior
Yeah.
motive. Yeah.
It's good to accept praise and feel proud on occasion, yeah. But somehow I'll end with the story of Narayana Murthy, who he was one of the co-founders of Infosys, the big Indian tech giant, and I was working with them, and he invited me to dinner at his house in Bangalore, and he said it's quite a modest house, but yes, we do have another house next door for our children, and it actually was a modest house, and his wife served the meal, and he talked about the village where he'd been the richest family in the village, and he said when poor people would come because they were hungry, we didn't give the food out the back door, we had them join us for dinner. And that it's that personal interaction that makes you a better person. Not, it does do good for you, but again, in a long-term way, along with the person you're sharing with. You're not donating to them, you are sharing with them and acknowledging them, and they acknowledge you.
The gifting out is actually a gift to yourself.
Like the Imbira. Now the Imbira is doing something in the world of value.
You gave that, and now it's being used.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so again, this sounds too transactional, but its value has increased because it's being used by someone who loves it.
Oh, beautiful. Perfect way to end. When's the book being, when can people get it?
Apparently
in
2027.
Oh, 2027. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm thinking of adding a chapter on Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
Because then maybe they'll rush it out.
Yeah, that's timely.
I'm kidding.
And that's, I'm like Jeffrey Epstein. So that'll move it up. We got to get this out. It'll sell more books.
Yes, exactly.
But
there'll be Substacks sooner.
There'll be Substacks, and people can learn about this and start learning from this now.
And start asking their own questions. Again, how does this apply to the thing I'm doing?
Yeah.
Whether it's my industry or just my own behavior vis-a-vis my employees, or
this is the moment where everyone should be thinking deeply. I think it's a transition moment.
Yeah.
It's a term limit moment for the world.
Yeah.
Thank you. And finally, an invitation to all of the extraordinary health transformers, whether you are a startup, someone building the future of health, or whether you are an investor, funder, or buyer of the solutions out there in the marketplace. This is an invitation to you to join the Startup Health member community. Learn more at startuphealth.com. Look forward to hopefully seeing you soon.